In Kentucky, some towns are not abandoned yet, but they are quietly moving toward that edge. There is no single moment when decline is officially declared. No alarms, no press conferences, no warning signs posted at the city limits. Instead, the evidence appears slowly. Paychecks shrinking, classrooms growing emptier, houses sitting vacant with no buyers in sight, and younger generations leaving without any intention of coming back. This is the most unstable period in a town's existence, not after it dies, but while it is still alive and drifting, unsure of what comes next. This breakdown focuses on small towns across Kentucky that face that uncertain future. Some remain relatively stable thanks to government roles or geographic importance. Others are hanging on by a thread, supported only by what remains of the coal economy and a handful of aging institutions. The list begins with Harlan. This town is struggling, but it is not collapsing. Tucked deep into the Appalachian Mountains of eastern Kentucky, Harlan continues to function as a regional anchor. While the population has dropped sharply since coal mining declined, the town still provides essential services to surrounding communities. A regional hospital, a courthouse, government buildings, and public infrastructure keep Harlan relevant in ways smaller towns nearby cannot replicate. Poverty is widespread. More than 1 out of every 3 residents lives below the poverty line. But that dependence makes the town's presence even more necessary. Harlan's history also sets it apart. During the 1930s, it became nationally known as Bloody Harlan, a name born from violent labor battles tied to coal mining. Those conflicts left a permanent mark on American labor history. Today, the economy no longer supports prosperity, and property crime levels sit above the Kentucky average. Even so, Harlan continues to exist, not because it is thriving, but because it still fulfills a role that has not disappeared. Where Harlan survives through regional influence, Beattyville survives through obligation. As the county seat of Lee County, this town holds an administrative position that prevents it from fading away completely. The courthouse, local government offices, schools, and public services ensure that daily life continues, even if growth has long stalled. Activity here is minimal, predictable, and rarely changes, but it never fully stops. Financially, Beattyville is in a much more vulnerable position. The median household income sits at roughly $23,750 per year, ranking it among the poorest towns in the state. More than 1/3 of residents live below the poverty line, and employment options are limited mainly to government work, small stores, and basic service jobs. Crime is present but generally low level, with few serious violent incidents. Often described as one of the oldest towns in the Red River Valley region, Beattyville also serves as an entry point for travelers heading toward the Red River Gorge, giving it a small but consistent flow of visitors. Beyond Beattyville lies Smithland, a town that survives for a different reason entirely: location. Like Beattyville, Smithland is a county seat serving Livingston County, but its long-term stability is tied less to administration and more to geography. The town sits where the Ohio River meets the Cumberland River, a position that has made it strategically useful since the 19th century. Smithland is not economically strong. Household incomes remain below the Kentucky average. Job opportunities are scarce, and population growth is nearly non-existent. Still, the combination of government services, river access, and basic infrastructure provides a degree of resilience. Crime levels remain relatively low, reinforcing the town's image as quiet and functional, rather than dangerous or chaotic. In the 20th century, Smithland nearly disappeared during a catastrophic Ohio River flood. The fact that it survived that event and continues to endure economic stagnation speaks to a town that, while fragile, has not yet let go. Unlike towns that still have a clear economic direction, Flat Lick feels like a snapshot of rural life at its most exposed. The median household income here is estimated at around $15,800 per year, far below the state average, and nearly the entire population lives below the poverty line. This is not a place experiencing sudden collapse, but one quietly struggling at the margins. Flat Lick has not fallen apart like a former mining town emptied overnight. Instead, it is slowly thinning out. Many residents are forced to commute long distances for work, often to neighboring towns because local job options are almost non-existent. Public transportation is virtually unavailable, which only increases the burden of daily travel. Educational attainment is also extremely limited, with very few adults holding a college degree, reinforcing a cycle that is difficult to escape. In Wisdom, the most striking feature is not extreme poverty or rising crime. It is the absence of activity. This is a deeply rural settlement with no real center of daily life. Wisdom never experienced a dramatic downfall tied to industry or disaster. It did not collapse, it simply began to fade. And that quiet decline makes it one of the clearest examples of a town slowly disappearing without anyone noticing. There is no major employer, no functional local job market, and almost no daily traffic passing through. The town operates on such a small scale that crime remains low, not because of economic health, but because there is so little happening at all. Economic conditions tell the real story. Household income remains far below Kentucky's average, with many residents relying on seasonal employment, government assistance, or fixed retirement income just to get by. Where wisdom fades almost invisibly, Blackey carries the physical marks of its past. This town has a unique distinction. It was once known as one of the shortest towns in the United States, stretching less than 1 mile in length. Located in Letcher County, Blackey was built around coal, expanded with coal, and began to weaken as the mines shut down. Today, it feels frozen in place, neither fully abandoned nor truly alive. Economic conditions remain harsh. The median household income is approximately $22,668 per year, well below the Kentucky average. Many residents depend on small service sector jobs, government assistance, or long commutes to nearby towns for employment. The population continues to age as younger residents leave in search of opportunity elsewhere. Crime levels are relatively low, largely because of the town's small size, rather than any real sense of economic stability. While Blackey still shows the footprint of a former mining town, Knob Lick barely ever reached that stage. It is an unincorporated community in Barron County, with no real town center, no dominant industry, and no clear civic identity. Its vulnerability comes from that absence of purpose. There is nothing structurally holding the community together beyond habit and geography. There are no official statistics for median household income in Knob Lick, but its economic reality closely mirrors nearby rural settlements. Earnings tend to sit well below the county median, with most households relying on jobs outside the area, small-scale farming, or fixed retirement income. The population continues to age. Vacant homes appear gradually, not because of sudden economic shock, but simply because time is thinning the community. Knob Lick did not experience collapse. It is slowly dissolving, without a defining moment that marks its decline. Sulphur Well represents a different pattern. This is a place that lost the reason people once came here. Its name traces back to a natural sulfur spring that was once believed to offer health benefits, attracting visitors and giving the community a purpose. Today, the contrast is striking. A place once known for drawing people in is now steadily being left behind. Sulphur Well did not fall apart overnight. It faded as its relevance disappeared. Located in Metcalfe County, Sulphur Well grew during an early period of resource-based activity, supported by small-scale mining and related services. When those activities ended, nothing replaced them. What stands out now is the lack of daily movement. There is no commercial core, no noticeable commuter traffic, and very few jobs within the community itself. Most residents depend on retirement income, government assistance, small farming, or commuting to nearby towns just to stay afloat. Fleming Neon still looks, on the surface, like a functioning town. There are traffic lights, residential streets, and the remains of a downtown area. But beneath that structure, the town's energy is weak. Formed from the merger of two coal towns, Fleming Neon was built entirely around the coal industry. When that industry collapsed, the town was left trying to survive on what little remained. The social indicators tell a clear story. Population numbers continue to decline, the average age is rising, and many buildings in the town center sit empty. Household income is far below Kentucky's average, poverty levels are high, and dependence on government assistance is widespread. Property crime is also higher than in surrounding small towns, a pattern often seen in former mining communities that lose economic stability. Historically, Fleming Neon was once a major commercial hub in eastern Letcher County, complete with large stores and even a movie theater. Today, it is not a ghost town, but it exists in that uneasy phase where a town is still standing, yet no longer truly alive. Jenkins was originally built as a carefully planned company town, laid out with precision to serve coal workers and their families. That structure is still visible today, but the momentum behind it is gone. Jenkins now feels trapped in long-term stagnation. It still has the outward form of a functioning town, with a city hall, schools, and a main roadway. Yet everything moves at a slow, uncertain pace, as if the town is waiting for a revival that never arrives. Jenkins did not experience a sudden collapse. Instead, it has remained suspended for years in a state of partial survival. From an economic standpoint, the town is fragile. Median household income sits at about $34,400 per year, well below Kentucky's average. Employment opportunities within the town are scarce, and reliance on government assistance is high. Many residents are forced to commute elsewhere for work, while those who stay behind tend to be older, with limited options ahead of them. Crime is not always violent, but deeper social pressures, especially long-term poverty, are strongly felt. A town once planned down to the smallest detail is now drifting forward without a clear future strategy. Wheelwright feels like a place abandoned by purpose rather than people. It was created as a classic company town, designed, built, and sustained entirely by the coal industry. When the mines closed, the reason for the town's existence disappeared with them. Unlike other towns that managed to diversify, Wheelwright never developed a true replacement economy. The effects became visible over time. Population numbers fell rapidly, vacant homes multiplied, and public life slowly faded away. Household income remains far below the Kentucky average, with most residents depending on retirement income, government assistance, or long-distance commuting for work. Crime levels are relatively low, not because the town is stable, but because economic and social activity are minimal. Wheelwright was once tightly organized, with nearly every aspect of life controlled by the coal company. Today, that same orderly layout only makes the emptiness more noticeable. Cumberland represents a town that fell from prominence. At its peak, it was one of the most important coal mining centers in eastern Kentucky, busy, loud, and economically powerful. It served as a regional trade hub and was once among the most influential towns in Harlan County. That era is long gone, and what remains is only a shadow of its former stature. On the surface, Cumberland still resembles a town. There is a main street, aging commercial buildings, and long rows of houses. Economically, however, its heartbeat is weak. Median household income is roughly $35,309 per year, poverty levels are high, and local employment opportunities nearly vanished after the collapse of the coal industry. The population has dropped sharply, leaving behind empty buildings and deteriorating infrastructure. Property crime rates are relatively high for a town of this size, a common pattern in places where economic stability has eroded and nothing has stepped in to replace it. If Cumberland represents a fall from prominence, Benham feels like a town paused in time. Located in Harlan County, Benham was almost entirely built as a coal company town. Carefully planned, orderly, and once economically strong. When coal disappeared, Benham did not reinvent itself. Instead, it stopped moving forward, locked in the shape of its past. What defines Benham today is not decay, but stillness. Many buildings remain structurally sound and well kept, yet everyday activity is minimal. A large portion of the remaining residents depend on pensions, government assistance, or jobs outside the town. Crime rates are low not because the economy is healthy, but because life here operates on a very small scale. Benham is now best known for the Kentucky Coal Mining Museum, where even the museum floor is made of coal. The contrast is unmistakable. The town survives as a historical exhibit, not as a fully functioning community. Lynch stands as the most striking symbol of a town abandoned by its time. At its peak, Lynch was the largest coal company town in Kentucky, complete with a hospital, schools, and a workforce that numbered in the thousands. Today, that scale has vanished, leaving behind a place that feels hollow, like the frame of an industrial giant stripped of its purpose. There is almost no economic engine left. Local employment opportunities are virtually non-existent, and most remaining residents are elderly or families without the resources to relocate. Crime remains low, but that quiet reflects emptiness rather than security. At one point, Lynch was home to more than 10,000 people, a figure that feels unreal today. This is not simply a town in decline. Lynch is already hovering on the edge of complete abandonment, waiting only for time to finish what the economy started. While Lynch still holds onto a thin thread of life, Creelsboro has moved beyond that stage. It is, for all practical purposes, finished. Situated along the Cumberland River, Creelsboro once functioned as a small river port and trading center. When transportation routes changed and river commerce faded, the town lost the only reason it existed. Today, Creelsboro has almost no permanent population. There is no local economy, no public infrastructure, and no daily rhythm that resembles town life. Many former homes have collapsed or been left to decay as vegetation steadily reclaims the area. Traditional measures like household income no longer apply. There are barely any households left to measure. The historical contrast is striking. In the 19th century, Creelsboro was once considered as a possible capital of Kentucky. Now it survives only as a name on an aging map. Among all the places on this list, Creelsboro is no longer approaching ghost town status. It has already arrived there.